This is in reference to Act 4 of The Winter's Tale, which I found really amusing because of its involvement of a character named Autolycus. He is sort of a wheeler and dealer type, and he sort of breaks up the play in a way that's kind of special, breaks the play in half. And there's things that go on in this act that are sort of special and sort of I thought of it as a ballad. It could be remediated as a ballad all on its own. And so in thinking about how I wanted to do this, I didn't want to tell it in a chronological order. I just wanted to give impressions of what the act was about what the characters are about, in tandem with themes that are interesting to people at the present time. I didn't realize when I chose this play and the act, but also the play, that currently there is a version of it being made or being broadcast by Kenneth Branagh. So anyway, I decided that because I use Tumblr and other forms of social media a lot, that it would be pretty natural and easy for me to do. So a lot of my remediation had to do with the app itself, how the app functions, and how other people interact with it. The first step was deciding what to name it. So I gave it a funny name, sort of misleading. It definitely doesn't have to do with the play as a whole. It's called A Wolf in Clown Clothes, which is playing on Autolycus, which you could interpret as meaning like self-made wolf or something like that, wily and kind of a wheeler dealer. And then as well, I began trying to find other blogs. Tumblr is a microblogging service that had anything to do with Shakespeare, and followed them immediately in hopes they would follow me. So far, I haven't had much success with that. But anyway, I did advertise it on Twitter and Facebook, and depending on people who I'm connected to naturally or organically or whatever, not that many people are interested in Shakespeare, so that's whatever that is. But anyway, in composing the blog, it consists both of posts that I have made, either taken from pictures from databases that have images from previous performances of Shakespeare, from like images from the 18th century, images from the 1960s when there was really inventive adaptations of this play and other Shakespeare plays, and as well as reblogging not only what other people have blogged about this play, about the characters in the play, but images and ideas that people have blogged that would be relevant. For example, a piece of art that recalls sort of a bucolic scene, or an actual shepherd singing, because it's set in with shepherds out in the bucolic setting. So anyway, in terms of performing my ballad, I have to first give my cell phone the code that lets me unlock it. This our modern world. And it's actually better that I'm not performing this on the laptop or desktop, because the way I've and one other thing about Tumblr that's different from other forms of social media that I like a lot is that you can customize the web page. You can optimize it in various ways, and you can also change the HTML. I'm not so good at HTML, so the desktop version doesn't look so good. But the app, that's the thing, is when you access it on the app, you really get the full functionality of the ballad. So I don't know if you can see it from here, but someone's experience of interacting with this play, basically, I've got, the most recent post. I won't go all through this. The most recent post is this is an image of somebody portraying Autolycus with a top hat on. It looks like it's in the early 60s in Britain. And this person's, it was a review where he actually played the part of Leontes and also Autolycus, which I think is really interesting. Various examinations of his character. This is a picture of the most famous Elizabethan clown that was used in a lot of Shakespeare's plays. His name was, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Robert Armin. And then just, this is here is an actual remediation of The Winter's Tale in ballad form that was printed in the 18th century with an image that I sort of mocked together on Photoshop. It kind of goes on from there. Here's just a picture of a shepherd shepherding sheep. Say that really fast. Part of Pandosto, which is an early remediation of this play. oh, here's directions for sheep shearing, because I just thought that was funny. And it just sort of goes on from there all the way down to, and this is, I'm just going all the way down. Well, it's taking a while to load in this room, but if you went all the way down, I started with a really striking image. I don't think it's going all the way down. So I'll skip that. But the images I think are really fun and striking. There was one section where I just was all about Perdita and all the different actresses who were portrayed her, and trying to examine what a modern interpretation of Perdita was. One other thing before I show you this last bit of functionality and stop. The two blogs I have had independently follow me are both porn blogs, because I tagged the one post. There's just one post I have where I tag you. Part of this is that you can tag your posts, and I tagged it with whores because in Autolycus's in the early part of the act, he's like la 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 and sort of talking to the ladies and talking about being with the ladies euphemistically, and so I thought, haha, I'll just put whores there. Anyway, so yeah, I got porn blogs to follow me, which is actually not that much of a success because whatever. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so the last little bit that I want to show you is in terms of Tumblr's functionality. I thought I was very witty. Maybe not, but Tumblr has this thing where you can send the owner of the blog either an email and ask them questions to which they will privately respond, or you can do this thing where the owner has the option of allowing you to, any user to upload. And I was hoping somebody would upload, and no one has, but the two choices you have to send me an email, you click the link that says, "How now, rustics, whither are you bound?" And if you want to upload something, you click on "What hast here, ballads," which are both little lines from this act. And that's it. Oh, and it's called, in case anybody cares, it's all in dashes, all lowercase, awolfinclownclothes.tumblr.com. Thank you. Everybody's got one of these, right? Or a laptop, right? So you can either, if you don't, you can come over here and play with this. If you don't have any experience with Tumblr, basically the way it works determined my choice of how to remediate the act. I had to choose whether or not I was going to focus on a single character, or if I was going to try to tell the act in linear form in a new ballad. What I decided to do is just let Tumblr do the work for me. So I followed a bunch of other accounts that had to do with Shakespeare. I kept looking for the characters' names like Perdita, or themes like shepherd, or bucolic, or things like that. And then also found my own items and uploaded them. So for those of you who've used Tumblr or have Tumblrs or access them, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, it basically functions like a Tumble log, a non-linear website. So you can either you can type it into Google and just type in "a wolf in clown's clothing Tumblr," TUMBLR, and you'll find it. If you have the app, you can follow me. You can actually upload your own content. And of course, I, as moderator, will decide whether or not it's relevant, but that's the only criterion, is that it has something to do with Act 4 of The Winter's Tale. So please have a look at it. You can either use this station right here, you can access it through the app, or you can access it on whatever website. It looks best in Firefox. This is Chrome. So I want to say one thing in terms of the reason why I, as a person from the information school, was interested in this class. I learned more about how the format you use to tell a tale really determines the tale you tell, more than any intent of what story you're trying to tell. So that's just something to sort of take home. And you can agree with me or you can disagree with me, but have a look at it before you do. Thank you.
I think new mediums are very important. Of course, like the old mediums are what created, you can't ignore the foundations and want to build a skyscraper, you have to start from floor one. So I think the balance of both is very good, and I think they both lend to each other now better than they used to back then. I think there's a better integration, especially in the college level. You have things like this happening from a classroom you take in college, but then you're doing these modern things in that class, which is built off of very old school ideas and thoughts and whatnot. So
the wolf in clown's clothing for Tumblr. It wasn't a huge presentation. They gave us the information and let us go through it on our own. It was a bunch of Shakespeare stuff, and it was really, I pulled out my phone and I started looking through it because, of course, I'm in Shakespeare companies. I'm on Tumblr, and I'm looking through this and I'm seeing all this old, classic stuff, and I'm like, this is, classic work like this and just the idea of this sort of literature isn't dead. I mean, we have all these mediums in which to communicate these things that have been going on forever. In this age of technology, a lot of people are saying that a lot of the old values and the old ways, reading, writing, thinking are going away. But with these kinds of things, I'm like, no, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
One of the things that really stood out to me was the Tumblr that the library studies student was talking about. And I haven't really been on Tumblr before, but I kind of get the gist. And I thought that was so cool to incorporate a Shakespeare character within Tumblr to try to get to a wider audience and make it more 21st century-esque. And it's so it's awesome that you can just access that from anywhere. So I think that was really cool.